Hey everyone, well in this video I'm gonna be working on a Jonsered 630 Super 2. This was actually my dad's main saw for him for many years. If you recall here a video or two back here, I had a 670 Super that I had out and cutting on the Saw of the Day series there. That was one of his other saws that he had that he never got working right, that he had gotten rebuilt, a blown up saw. This one is, he bought it, was almost a brand new saw. A guy had bought it from the local dealer here. For whatever reason he didn't like it, took it back to the dealer didn't argue with him, he just gave him his money back. And had this basically as almost like a demonstrator because the saw was only a couple days old and the guy didn't like it, so like I say, the dealer took it back. And my dad was looking for a saw, so the dealer offered him a really good price on this one, so my dad picked this one up. Now the difference between the 630 Super 2s and the regular Supers were they had a little bit of different porting in the cylinders. They got the updated chain brake system with the heavier flag post, the newer style, almost like the Husqvarna 272, stuff like that. This saw was a late model, pretty much at the end of their production run for the 630s. What I'm doing today is I've got the clutch off. This was the clutch that was on this saw, but it's worn out. The springs, this style of clutch here, has the little coil springs with the holes or notches drilled in the clutch shoes. And what happened is this one is actually the springs have worn notches right into these holes here. So the springs are actually loose, you can move them around with your fingers in the clutch. So this whole assembly is literally, it's completely worn out. These were a good clutch. They were the newer updated version from the one-piece round slinky spring that went around on the older 630 Supers like the one I have. They had this style, like I say, on the Super 2s here that were updated, and then the very last they had an updated clutch. It was a triple C-spring clutch, like you'd find on your 372s and 365s and saws like that. So anyways, I recently was poking around on eBay and I found a seller that had the newer updated C-spring clutch from a Rec 630 Super 2. So I thought, hey, I finally found a replacement clutch for my dad's old saw. So I figured, well, we'll get that fixed and going. And so I went ahead and ordered it up. And when it showed up, it was not what he had advertised in the listing. He had substituted and stuck another old clutch in exactly like what was on this saw. Now, like I say, he had checked the part numbers and everything. They do have, like I say, the updated C-spring clutch for these saws. You could run them on the 272s, 268s, 61s, all the late series saws that had the fine thread crankshaft. I think you could even use them in some of the older saws as long as they had the fine thread crankshaft, you were okay. So the guy was dishonest about it. I messaged him, asked him, did you mix up the order that you sent me? Do you have another clutch or something that you had listed? Or, he didn't want to answer. eBay got after him. Finally, he answered me back. He goes, no, I sent you what I had. I said, message him back. I said, no. I said, that's not even the same part number I says that you had in your listing. And then he just completely ghosted me and ghosted eBay. So at that point, eBay turned around, stepped in, and they refunded my money. And they said he was being a jerk and they weren't going to argue with him. So in this particular case, they came through and they gave me back my money for somebody who was falsifying a classified. So anyways, so I do have this other clutch, but it's also badly worn. Not as worn as this one. This one, the springs are still actually have a little bit of tension on them. They're not tight, but the slides here are a little bit worn, just like this one is. So anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and put it on the saw and try it. It's like I say, this one, the springs are literally, everything is moving. It's all wore out and loose. This one is loose. but it's not worn quite as bad as this one. So for as much as I use the saw, that clutch might work. I'll see. If not, I can still get them. They're not cheap from Husqvarna. These clutch units, I think in my market, are well over $100 for a replacement clutch. There's a few online parts sellers that have listings I've seen from various websites. I can order them up for around between 50 and 60 bucks. A little bit shipping, so might come in you know, maybe 40 bucks cheaper than ordering it from the local dealer, but anyways, we'll see how this goes here. So we're going to give it a try. I'm going to go ahead and set the camera up here on the tripod and go ahead and show me reassembling this unit. So here we go. Everything else is in good shape because I had basically rebuilt the clutch system other than the clutch. This whole, when my dad was still running this a couple of years before he couldn't run a saw anymore, he asked me to do some work on it for him because his whole clutch drum system was wore out. The clutch drum was buggered up. The dust shield here was buggered up, and even I believe the oiler gear wasn't in the greatest of shape. Now these they have a little steel machine washer here that goes in behind the oiler worm drive gear on these here. This is actually considered, or is called your it's a spacer washer, but it's also a protector for your crank seal. So if you ever work on these saws, you got to make sure this little washer is in there, or you can wipe out your seal. So this goes in here like so. It literally goes in behind here and sits up against the edge of the bearing race. Then you got these weird little cogged, anybody that runs these 200 series Husqvarnas and these old 600 series Jonsereds, you know what I'm talking about here. They got these cogged oiler worm drive gear that runs your oil pump. Then they've got this another spacer washer here type of deal. This one here, it's a stainless steel washer, I guess, or a hardened steel washer, I don't know, whatever. It goes over here on the, it's like another wear protector over, sits on the face of the oil pump. They've got a groove cut in it, and then they've got these plastic dust shield that goes over, and that steel washer wears on here. And this has a notch here that sits over and into your the oil pump body. And then the drum has got a cogs cut in it here that intermeshes with that plastic oiler worm gear. I had upgraded this all brand new Oregon 8-tooth 7/8. Like I say, this was a brand new drum. I had put brand new sprocket, brand new dust shield. So the only thing that wasn't, you got to make sure that this is properly lined up here. There we go. That's fully engaged. This still even has some grease yet inside the bearing, so I'm not going to re-grease it. It doesn't need to be. I already did it before, I know that. And we're going to go ahead and try this other old clutch. I don't know if this is going to be any good or not. Like I say, I might have to look for a replacement newer style. Like I say, I thought I had found it, thought I had it licked, but like I say, the guy misrepresented his listing and sent me this old style one, which is not what I wanted, but what I ended up with. So anyways, I go ahead and always lift my recoil rope out a bit, and I put a couple of little zaps with my cordless impact to so my clutch doesn't go flying off. I'll make sure I put all the side cover and chain and bar and chain on and everything anyways. But there we go. I think if I remember right, I'd even got him these new replacement bar plates, these wear plates here for spacers, whatever you want to call them here, protectors. And this one had, from the factory when he got this saw, it had it was optioned out, this saw, with the dual slide bumpers. Not actual dogs, but it came from the factory. The dealer said with that, when he opened the box up, it had that setup in it. So kind of interesting that the saw came equipped with that style. So most of them just had the single inner, either a bumper or a dog. It was your choice, but this one came with dual bumpers. So don't know if maybe somebody had ordered it somewhere along in the supply chain line or something, or whatever. Hard to say. So that's the only bad thing about these 200 series Huskies and the 600 series Jonsereds, is they had the tensioner screw here in the front of the case. But typical for all that saws of that era, they were all set up like that. So okay. There we go. Now just to get this thing fired up, it hasn't run in about 6 months. I do start it on a semi-regular basis to keep the carb from getting fouled up on this saw. This saw has seen a lot of work. It did a lot of cutting in its day. After my dad retired from his job where he worked running a grader, he kind of got back into farting around with me in the bush, because I was pretty much logging all the time doing stuff, and he wanted to kind of get back into that again, and he had a good run for quite a few years. He was strong and healthy for an old guy. He was strong like a horse. He could still, you know, couldn't cut all day, but he could come in the afternoon and we'd go to the bush together and spend time doing some logging together, and I will be forever grateful that I got to spend that time with him doing that, because I enjoyed having him as my cutting partner, and I know he, you know, genuinely liked working with me as well in the bush cutting. My brother, years ago when we were younger, we cut with Dad, all three of us at time on, you know, weekends when everybody was, you know, home from their jobs and doing whatever, and it was definitely a memorable time in my life. I'll forever, like I say, be grateful for that. And the ultimate compliment Dad gave me, he was never one of those kind of guys to ever, you know, give much praise to anybody for anything, but one day he just all suddenly said, when we were, you know, sharpening saws on the landing beside the wood pile there, he just says, wish I would have been working with you. He says, years ago when I was younger, he says, you're the best, told me I was the best cutting partner he ever had to work in the bush with. So that says a lot, you know. So, and I think it meant a lot for him to be able to work with his son, you know, and it meant a lot to me to be able to work with my dad logging. But anyways, enough about the sentimental stuff. We're going to get this old saw fired back up and see if we can, this clutch is going to, if it's going to idle right or not now, because like I say, with this other buggered up clutch on here, it was, the chain was crawling, and it was, you know, when you'd bring it up to proper idle speed, it would, the chain would start spinning or crawling. So safety factor in itself there. So anyways, gonna set up the camera here a little bit different angle and see if we can get it started. One thing about this saw, it has incredible compression. Over the years, Dad used to talk about, he used to sometimes curse at this thing because it was actually hard to start. Like I said, they had different porting in them, and they changed the actual compression. What I understand, even the upper part of the cylinder chamber was improved in them to get more, well, get a little more performance out of them. The cylinders got reworked on them, and they became quite a good performer. They were not like the early 630s. These later Super 2s were kind of where it was at if you were going to have a 630. So anyways, going to see if we can get this bugger fired. Like I say, it gives your shoulder a workout anyways. So I did a compression test on it pretty much at the time when I did the clutch upgrade, like I say, a number of years back here, and it was still pumping out over 170 psi compression. So come on, it hasn't run a while, so I'm gonna wake it up. May not want to go. Might have to give it a little prime in the carburetor. Usually it starts by now. Just because now it's on camera, it's going to be difficult. Oh, come on. No. Okay. The minute I shut the camera off, second pull, it'll fire off. I'd also put a new air filter on here. In case you're wondering, these air filters for these 630s and 670s and all of them were pretty much obsolete for the Jonsered, what they call the flatback filter. You can use a filter off a 266 on here with the raised centerpiece. Over here, the arch top filter, they do fit on the 630s. Yeah. Don't think we're getting any fuel in there, so just gonna go ahead and not a whole bunch, just gonna sprinkle a little tiny bit of fuel in there just to essentially half a dozen drops of fuel in it just to get it to fire. Okay, let's see if we can get it to go here. All it took. The fuel was already there pretty much, but like I say, I put half a dozen drops of fuel in it there into the carburetor, and it fired off right away. So like I say, there's ways of keeping these old saws alive and going by retrofitting certain parts. You can mix and match. I found an original OEM brand spanking new, like I say, wasn't cheap. A new air filter from, like I say, a 266. Dealer had that sitting. He had ordered in for somebody who wanted, and he said the guy never came and got it, and he got stuck with it, so he sold me this one. Not cheap. I think in my market here, already almost 10 years ago when I bought this filter, it was something like $35 at that time for that filter. So like I say, that's an OEM. It's not a flocked filter, it's just a nylon, whatever they call it, winter filter. But this saw doesn't not going to see that much run time or use. It's just, like I say, kind of bringing Dad's old saw back to life. And this clutch, noticed already, once it warms up and settles into a regular idle, should be fine. So anyways, I think we're gonna go ahead and call this a video. Next time you see it, I'm probably gonna feature it on the saw of the day, and I'm gonna be cutting some firewood over here in the log pile here, and well, keep the old saw alive and running. And anyways, just like to say thanks once again, everyone, for stopping by and checking out another one of my videos, and we'll see you all in the next one.